We need to both wear our hoodies one of these shows. All right.
Forgot the fade.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Brews and Blockchain.
That's right.
Where we talk all things crypto. And hey, you may know us as the Crypto Masters, but we also do the weekly Brews and Blockchain where we talk about anything crypto. So here we go. We're going to talk about crypto.
Yeah, Brian, and there's just a few things in the crypto space happening this week. We'll get into it, but yeah, it's a lot of juicy stuff going on.
It was a crazy roller coaster week for crypto,
to say the least.
But so today's show, let's just kind of give a quick little roadmap, Ross. We've been having our intense fantasy crypto challenge where you and I have drafted teams of coins and tokens, and we take their cumulative price increases and decreases and see who's in the lead. So we'll give an update on that. We'll be pretty quick on that. There's no redraft this week. And then we got an update on Elrond, which has had a change to it that we'll discuss briefly. And then we'll get to the main topic of the week that everybody's talking about, and that is FTX and the battle between SBF and CZ of Binance and the craziness that happened with that.
Yeah, Brian, this is going to be a great Hollywood movie down the road. Let's just say that. So
Could be.
You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. That does seem like it would be interesting. All right, Ross, let's start with Fantasy Crypto Challenge update.
So, yes, Fantasy Crypto update, Brian. I'm going to just give one more refresh here. So I'm sitting at 107 to, again, let me zoom in real quick, actually, just to make sure everyone can see. So yeah, I'm at $107,200, and Brian is at, giving a refresh. That's not official if you're watching. Oh, 107,800. So Brian's still in the lead. Yesterday Ross took the lead, but now Brian's reclaimed it apparently. But we're neck and neck now. We're neck and neck.
Last week we were actually in the green, right? I mean, we were both above the starting. Our baseline was 120,000.
Yep, we were both
above.
At least 10 to 15K in the green. Yeah.
Yes, and then with the SBF or the FTX fiasco this week, we are below the starting point, but on our way back up.
Yeah, we're coming back.
Any big movers? Let's talk about the big movers of the week on a couple from each of us.
Well, did it just freeze?
No, I'm actually moving.
So, yeah, I mean, the biggest mover for Brian right now, and this is you, right? Yep, is Maker, up 4% somehow in all this mess.
That is pretty impressive.
I mean, shoot, Cardano just being down 5% on this mess
was good. Yeah, Cardano did not drop as much as a lot of them. What's my biggest drop?
Your biggest drop on the weekly is Merit Circle. So
gaming's getting beat up. I saw some other
gaming's getting hurt.
Got hurt. All right.
Which, I don't know. Does FTX invest much in Merit Circle? I don't know. But I think a lot's going to come out with, some big movers down. Could have a lot of FTX investment. So
could be.
And let's see on Ross' side of the house. So, what
do you got, Doge?
Polygon up 20% on the week. Very nice.
Wow.
And 34% 24 hours. So,
Wow.
and biggest loser, womp womp, is Dogecoin, which used to be, I mean, overall in the competition, it's my biggest gainer. I've gained almost $4,000 with it for my starting 10. But
Yeah,
no good.
they got slaughtered during the FTX anchor drop.
Which, I mean, in something like this, the assets that are going to go, or the memes, the blue chips, I think are going to hit least hard. So
Yeah.
makes total sense.
All right. Well, we'll have an update on that next week, and actually, then we have to do our redraft next week, and that's always fun.
That's right.
So let's talk about another development in crypto this week. A little bit more positive, I think, than some of the stuff we're going to talk about in a little bit, and that is Elrond. And yeah, Elrond is it's a project that we've talked about before. We did a deep dive on it on the Crypto Masters. I actually drafted it in in Fantasy Crypto, and then I think I dropped it.
Oh yeah,
But
I was actually surprised and I'd see it still.
yeah, but after you could actually draft. Well, I think either one of us could pick it back up. But so Elrond has made an announcement, and it's no longer Elrond. It is Multiverse X with a focus on metaverse. It's still, the token is still eGold, the EGLD. But instead of Elrond, it's now Multiverse X. So what do you think of this development, Ross?
Yeah, I think, I'd say just from, if we had a ton of coworkers in the office talking about what if you won that big lottery pot, and honestly, I said I would start working to build a metaverse, honestly. And I think this is just, one, it's the fun thing to do. Two, I think it's going to be a very profitable thing to do. It could be early. We're seeing Meta get hammered hard with critics and stuff like that, but they're the first one through the door. They're getting their teeth punched in first, but seeing more people go towards the metaverse, I think, is very promising. I just think it's very exciting. And, to everyone that's touching the metaverse now is looks like they've got the Midas touch. It's a big market mover. So I think it's very exciting. And you're looking for where Elrond's going to go big to next. So
yeah, we've talked many times about the fierce competition in layer ones and ETH competitors, and it's a bit of a crowded market with frankly a lot of good projects. I mean, there's some bad ones that are L1s, but there's a lot of good ones. So in a way, Elrond is kind of differentiating itself maybe from that group of competitors wanting to compete with ETH.
Yeah, and I'm also sharing my screen here showing the Elrond website. If you want to continue the new site here, really cool website, honestly. As a web developer on the side, this looks awesome. So really cool website. Nice. Just side note, but yeah, very cool, very exciting. And we did an episode on Elrond. I think we both gave it, A+ or whatever our rating system is. We gave it some eGold stars.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, nice.
See what
and I remember the thing that really stands out about it to me is it's sharding. Its way to scale is through sharding, and they're still emphasizing that about the being a platform for multiverses or metaverses. So it's marketing, but marketing with some differentiators that can get those people like you, Ross, who win the lottery and want to build a metaverse. Might want to go to Elrond. I mean, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, Brian, and I don't know what Facebook is building. I hate to keep bringing them back up, but the centralized metaverse, I mean, we're alluding to it later. Centralized exchanges, not great. I just think the real fun in the metaverse is going to be a decentralized world, an ecosystem, if you will, that we can all exist in. One where you don't have to create a Facebook account to get on. Shot at Oculus there, shot at Meta. If I need an Oculus, I have to log in with my Facebook. I hate that. One of the reasons I haven't got one, but yeah, I don't know, just a little mini rant there, but
All right.
the metaverse has to be decentralized.
Well,
Bam. I said it.
we will continue to discuss metaverse, no doubt. On Brews and Blockchain, you will be hearing about metaverse.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely,
the big news of the week, and maybe of the year, although we have Lunas was still this year as well, but was the
yeah. Man, it makes crazy these two things are in a year.
was
But yeah.
it was 1 week ago, wasn't it, that we talked about BitBoy, or was that 2 weeks ago? The
It might have
BitBoy.
been last week.
Well, anyways, in a recent Brews and Blockchain, either 1 or 2 weeks ago, we noted how BitBoy was going off on Sam Bankman-Fried, and mainly, at least started with his rant was SBF, lobbying Congress for some crypto regulation, which really didn't seem to be in the spirit of crypto and decentralization. It seemed to be favorable, to his exchange, and so that upset a lot of people, and most notably BitBoy. But then BitBoy made some allegations about Sam, doing some shady activities, which at the time, I don't think most people or anybody really knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I didn't know. I had no clue. I was like, "What? I mean, what's going on here?"
Right,
I mean,
right. We didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, and he did. I will say, I'm just going to butt in here real quick, Brian. He was, in his paper or proposal to Congress about Bitcoin regulation. It was really took some shots at DeFi and really decentralization of all that. So, and really benefiting centralized entities, I'll say.
Which FTX, is.
For sure, yeah.
Or was. But,
it was, yeah.
So anyway, let me give a really quick background. I don't think most of our listeners are either going to know about it or, can find more details in other places. But just from my perspective, and a very quick summary is, a lot of people know that Sam Bankman-Fried also owned Alameda Research. That's sort of where he started. It's kind of a trading hedge fund type thing. And then he owns like 90% of that. And then, of course, he started FTX, the crypto exchange, sort of a competitor to Binance and Kraken and Coinbase. And it was extremely successful. They named the Miami Heat Arena as FTX Arena. And we found out, I think what really started the dominoes was a report from CoinDesk, which pointed out that Alameda and FTX had a lot of cross transactions with loans and things like that. And that Alameda on its balance sheet had the token, the FTX exchange token, which is FTT. It had just a ton of FTT, which it was sort of valuing and using as collateral and valuing at its current price, at the time, which was, I don't know, like $30 or something. And anyway, that was, and there were some non-transparent aspects to that, which the Coinbase, the CoinDesk article brought out. And so that alerted someone everybody knows almost in crypto, which is CZ, who is the owner and face of Binance, the biggest exchange by far. And I learned that Binance was an early investor in FTX, which is kind of interesting and a little bit confusing. That Finance is financed a competitor. But anyway, CZ and of course Binance owned a lot of FTT, and CZ made the unbelievably bold move of going on Twitter and saying basically, "Hey, Sam, you weren't transparent with me, so I'm selling all of our FTT."
Yep.
And what do you think happens when the biggest player in the game is going to sell its FTT? I mean, the price of FTT went from like $30 to $2 in a couple of days.
Oh yeah, I had to bring it up because I just
Yeah,
had to
well, there it
see it.
is.
$25, and I mean as low as about two.
Yeah,
Pretty remarkable, really.
in a very short period of time,
Oh yeah,
and that caused all kinds of consequences. The FTT, everybody wanted to get out of their FTT. That caused people to worry about FTX's liquidity in general. So everybody's trying to get out. Of course, they don't have the liquidity, and so they have to stop withdrawals, and just leads to a huge, huge problem. And basically, it was going under, and CZ said, "Okay, Binance is going to buy it." Very next day said, "Oh wow, we started the due diligence, and there's nothing we can do about this." So that just
oh
caused it
yeah,
even worse. I mean, so that was sort of how the whole thing started. Yeah, what do you want to add to that, Ross?
yeah. I definitely want to add CZ's tweet. This is from November 8th. This was just a big mic drop, but two big he tweets this out. Two big lessons. One, never use your token you created as collateral. And
Yeah,
two, don't borrow if you run a crypto business. Don't use capital efficiently. Have a large reserve. And uh man, yeah, he just hit the nail on the head. But yeah, it seems like FTX just had everything borrowed out, invested out. So yeah, everyone
use
did a bank
leverage.
run.
It was
Oh yeah.
leverage again, just like the regular finance crash of 2008. Leverage, and here we go, leverage again.
Yep.
But
Oh yeah.
it's interesting that CZ really has a I don't know, a persona of being a nice guy. He kind of has a mild look to him, and he just kind of comes across as a nice guy in his tweets, and then you see him visiting these places and all that. He seems very accessible.
Yeah.
But I mean, here I think we see the ruthless businessman side of him, because man, he brought down a big player.
Oh
And
yeah.
I,
He
I got
brought
to tell
down. Yeah.
Ross, I did not see this come. I don't think anybody did, other than maybe SBF, but I didn't see
Oh
this
no.
coming. Nobody saw this coming. This is huge. I mean, it was either the second or third biggest exchange, and it just vaporizes. It's not totally. It's still uncertain what's going to happen with it, but it
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
went. Unless there's help, and SBF has said this, and you're going to talk about his tweet in a minute, but unless there is help, meaning some investor wants to come and provide liquidity and essentially buy the exchange, it's going to have to go to bankruptcy. That's the way I read the tweets that I've been reading.
Oh yeah. And man, Brian, it's just a terrible look for crypto.
Oh yeah,
From the uneducated perspective, if you don't know what crypto is, this looks terrible. But it's really, something we preach all the time is, if you take something like crypto, that's a beautiful idea. Uh, you know, talking back to Satoshi's real vision of this thing, not SV, but, and get away from it and centralize this thing, package it up, and really, I mean, I don't know what you want to say, defraud investors. I mean, crypto is just another vehicle for fraud. It's not that crypto is a fraudulent machine or token or vehicle.
oh, you
Money
mean just
is.
like anything else, it can be used for fraud by bad
Yeah,
actors, right?
exactly. And I don't know. It's just sad. It's a big hit to crypto. Regulation is coming hard. If you think it's not, wake
Right.
up to that. That's
Well,
going to
I
happen
mean,
hard.
and
But
here's kind of my thoughts on that are I've always said, regulators usually just screw up everything they do. But
yeah,
and I certainly don't want a lot of regulation on crypto, on the projects, on the tokens, on DeFi. But the two areas where at least two that I've thought about that's been discussed, where I can see a need and benefit for regulation is one is stable coins. I mean, Luna sort of showed that. And then, if you're saying it's backed by assets, show us the assets that it's backed by. I mean, that's the problem that's always been kind of hanging over Tether, at least until recently, was they wouldn't show their reserves. So you're just taking their word for it, and that's no way to go. Now they've come around on that, and they've shown their, what backs the Tether. And then there's, USDC, which is centralized, but it shows their backing. I mean, it's US dollars 1-for-1. Tether has some, dollar-like assets that it uses for its backing, which is fine. But anyways,
yeah.
So one is stable coins. The other thing is centralized exchanges. I mean, I can see there is a need for regulation on centralized exchanges, and this is coming from a free marketer. But I mean, this is just an example of it. And I think one of the big winners of this is going to be like Coinbase. I mean, Coinbase is,
yeah,
they're regulated, they're publicly traded, which means all their stuff is transparent and published. And I saw Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, on a show today, and he was saying this just can't happen to us, and it can't. I mean, that's true. What's backing Coinbase because it's public information. Go look it up. It's easy.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to have on Brian Armstrong, but man, he is having a field day with this. I mean, I saw him on several shows, just like, yep, this is just another win for us, and why we're great. I mean,
well, I hope he doesn't overstate it, but it is a fact. Like that you can feel somewhat safe. And I'm not saying Coinbase can't get hacked or anything like that. Anything like that is possible, but at least they're not taking your deposits and doing stuff with them like FTX did with depositors' money it used to pay some loans that had to Alameda Research. So anyway, that kind of stuff cannot happen with Coinbase. So I think it is going to be a big winner from this. Anyways, Ross,
I gotta say, I most of all, and this is everyone's saying it right now, especially, but I think most of everyone, I trust Coinbase. But that being said, of my whole crypto portfolio, less than 10% is left on Coinbase on that exchange.
Yeah.
Most is in cold storage. So
right.
If any listener is out there, I mean, you're safest in cold storage. If it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. You've probably heard it a million times by now, especially on other mediums of social media. But yeah, get it on cold storage.
Also interesting, there's always been the tie between FTX and Solana. And I think just because it was a big investor, it was sort of a venture investor in Solana, I think. But Solana took a beating as well. I mean, it really dropped like a stone.
Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at Solana real quick. So we've got, FTT up here, big dip. Let's look at Solana because I know they got real.
Like most of
them. Real kicked in the teeth.
It did. I mean, it went from number 8, I don't know, down to like 15 or something, maybe at one point. But.
Yeah.
So do you have show it? So it's back 12. Up to 17. What was it down? Oh, well, there it is. Yeah, look at that.
Up to 36 and then down to 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's back up to what, like 17? Is that what it was?
17. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take any shots at Solana right now, but very centralized project. We haven't done a review of it, but
that's why. That's why we
no, I did take a shot.
I'm not taking shots at it either because, I know people have invested in it and no one wants to see this happen, just because of really conduct of not really one person, but mainly one person. You know, and a lot of your savings gets wiped out. That's just not cool. So,
Well, I think that is a good point, Brian, because let's say you invest in Bitcoin, you're investing in the technology, right? If you're investing, and that's a decentralized, everyone agrees Bitcoin is very decentralized, the
yes,
gold standard for it. If
right,
you're investing in something like Solana, not only are you investing in the technology, but the leadership behind it.
yeah,
So you're not just marrying soul, you're marrying the leaders behind that,
yeah,
just like
and
Facebook. So
and to some
or
extent,
Meta.
you know, the investors, the venture capital companies that invested in it,
Very true.
and you know,
Very true.
there was a lot of concern about, I think some Saul maybe the tie-up periods are ending, and that could lead to more. I think one of that happened to some extent, but the venture capital firm said we're not going to sell it to kind of give some assurance to the other investors. So
Okay.
it didn't tank as much as it even could have. So that's
Very interesting.
yeah.
And real quick, Brian, sorry, we've got a comment here. Ken Jones, this is interesting. There's a wild theory about Sam being an industry plant. Ooh.
Like from traditional finance.
Maybe so. He was in traditional finance before he started
was.
his first company there.
So
But
Ken's theory is, or at least no, he's just repeating the theory. I'm not going to say it's Ken's theory.
yeah,
Ken is aware of a theory where the traditional finance people, probably like Goldman Sachs, you know, put Sam in as a plant, builds the second biggest exchange, and then tanks it. Wow,
that would be wild. That would
is,
be something wild. Another segment of the movie.
yeah.
So
There you go. Yeah, that could
if
be.
Ken's still on, I'd love to hear more about that. I haven't heard that one, but
Yeah, Ken can do another comment with a little more detail, but that's interesting.
and if you're on the stream, send a comment in. We'll post it up. See, that'd be a good one. PG. We'll post it up.
All right, Ross. So after all this shook out, and really it looked like the bottom was falling out. I mean, it really did last night on November 9th in the evening in the US. It looked pretty bad because that was after Binance had said, we're not doing it. And then it just really was, everything was in free fall. So this morning, I think it was this morning, right? SBF did a tweet thread. I call it his apology tweet.
Yeah. Yep. There's a little, I'll zoom in a little more here so you can see it, but there's a little coarse language here. But yeah. First statement is, I'm sorry. That's the biggest thing. I effed up and should have done better. So it's a long rant. We'll link it down in the description.
Definitely. Well, I wouldn't call it a rant. I mean, it's
not rant, but
it's
yeah.
He's apologizing and
he's
giving some information, some explanation. Yeah, I mean, I have a few notes that I took on it. One thing is he makes it very clear that this he called it a shit show. Only involved FTX International, and he says if you're FBX US, basically if you're American, you got nothing to worry about. You know, you can withdraw, you can do whatever you want. Now I have seen some other tweets that said if you're on FTX US, you ought to get off. But
I would, not financial advice, but yes, I would advise that.
right. So
not personally on it, but yeah.
I'm not either. So Sam made that clear. He also noted that I guess this is like for bankruptcy concerns. If your funds are stuck on FTX International, he says the total value is more than the deposits. I think trying to indicate like, hey, even if we go to bankruptcy, you ought to get your money back. He mentioned that leverage was a problem. He thought they were 0x leverage, and they were actually 1.7x leverage. So again, leverage rears its head here in a disaster.
And
so
I'm just going to back you up there real quick, Brian. As a data analyst, this should be on a freaking dashboard that he looks at daily. And I
Right.
mean, I know he's saying he's sorry, but this
He's
should
saying he
be,
screwed up. He says this is
yeah,
one of my
yeah,
screw
it
ups.
should, but yeah,
So the thing that's a little hopeful, there was definitely a hopeful message in here, and he's like, I'm doing everything now to get some leverage. We've got some um, LOIs, letters of intent. We've got
hmm
some things making it sound like they still might find an investor that might be able to plug the sinking ship. So that would actually be very positive if that
yeah,
actually happens. I mean, he says no promises. And then Ross, one of the most interesting parts of that thread was the one that says he calls him his sparring partner. He doesn't name him, but everybody knows he's talking about CZ. And he says, "Well played, you won." So that sort of speaks volumes about what really happened.
yeah,
Yeah. So interesting stuff.
yeah, very fascinating, Brian. Side note, everyone knows FTX owns the Miami Stadium or Miami Arena. Where
Or the
I mean, I
naming
guess,
rights. The naming
yeah, the
rights.
naming rights to it. So, the FTX Arena, and I just pulling it up out of curiosity. The website's still live, but Miami's tweeted out that we're looking for new people for the naming rights because there's a payment issue, of course. But
Yeah, I wonder how
yeah,
much in advance they've paid. They may have it for another
oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
few months or 6 months until they can't make the next payment. But yeah,
yeah,
so I don't know. We'll see how this works out. I got to tell you, last night when I went to bed, I thought this was going to be a disaster, and it still could be. I mean, it's bad. It's already bad, but the
it's real bad.
domino effects that could happen. If people get spooked and everybody, including the institutions, take all their liquidity off the exchanges, there's going to be exchanges that fail. And then when exchanges fail, you get, hurt depositors, the little guys. And it just could be a bit of a chain reaction that I hope we can avoid it. I hope they get some liquidity and at least salvage this so that it's not a domino effect disaster. And
Yeah.
there seems to be hope for that. And the markets reacted today. The crypto markets reacted today, following to some extent maybe the inflation news in the U.S. and the stocks went up, but crypto went up as well. And I think part of it was based on optimism that this thing may not be as bad as it could be.
Yeah, and I think the major worry I have with this, Brian, is just the crypto sentiment, or
Yeah,
after the. I mean, it's just for those people that were skeptical about crypto, this is yet another smoking gun on the year that
it's more
crypto
ammunition.
is fraud. Yeah, this is just more ammo. This is a scam. Don't get into it. And hey, you've got people that I'm sure went on FTX because they watched the World Series shoot last year, when FTX logo was first put on everything, and got into crypto and bought in for the first time, and now this has happened. I mean, that's one way to lose a cryptoer for life, a crypto head
Yeah,
for life,
maybe.
I'd say. So
In,
to gain
in
that
my
trust back, I'm very worried, but
in my
it'll take some
view,
time.
yeah, this set us back, us being the crypto believers. Um, this set us back by at least some months. But hey, that's
Okay.
if that's all it is. Yeah, I mean, I'm still a big believer in crypto. This is again one guy screwed up in a sense. Doesn't change anything about all the benefits of crypto and decentralization and everything we're going to keep talking about.
So Brian, that's to say you don't believe Bitcoin's going to hit 100K by December 31st.
That is correct. Whenever the new all-time highs were going to be, I think now they're going to be a few months later. But
Yeah.
again, crypto is still the future. There's still too many benefits to stop it. So it's still going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm still a big believer.
Yeah, the idea, the technology, everything is sound. Nothing has ever been wrong with, I mean, if you look at any crypto by itself, crypto asset by itself, especially Bitcoin, it's solid. No, I mean, that is solid, but it's just, it's just another vehicle for greedy and irresponsible people to mess up. So there you go.
Just like they can do anything, really.
Exactly.
It's not like fiat currencies like US dollars don't have, bad players manipulating them and, doing all the same stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the cartel uses it. So,
yeah, that's right. So we are running a little long, man. I think we need to wrap up this episode of Brews and Blockchain.
Yeah, I think it was a good episode. A lot of crazy stuff. Google FTX and all over the place. But yeah, guys, check out thecryptomasters.com for all your crypto-related stuff. We're doing lives every Thursday. Committing to this now, Brian. I say we just do it. Lives every Thursday for Brews and Blockchain. All your crypto news and more crypto fantasy as it continues to unravel.
That's right. All right, everybody. See you at thecryptomasters.com.
Yes, cryptomasters.com. Check it out. You won't regret it.
All right. Take care, Ross.
Thanks. Bye, Brian.